Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd. Brought to you by Coastal Appliances, Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care Immediate Care, Misty's Element Massage, Pristine Water, Files Insurance Agency, Jenkins Nissan, and by Marshside Grill. Now, here is your host, the voice of the Brunswick High Pirates, the Professor, Teddy Bishop.
Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I am Teddy Bishop, and we are on location at Marshside Grill in Brunswick, where we will be each and every Sunday night at 7 o'clock for the Victor Floyd Coaches Show. This segment of the Victor Floyd Show is sponsored by Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Coastal Appliances, Apple Care Immediate Care, Files Insurance Agency, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Pristine Water and Pools, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, and Marshside Grill. And now joining us, the head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, Victor Floyd.
Good evening.
Coach, big win for the Pirates on Friday night. It was a must-win game against Richmond Hill, and quite honestly, I wasn't sure Richmond Hill could hang with Brunswick High, but they certainly did. But your Pirates came away with the win, and Richmond Hill's a tough team.
Yeah, Richmond Hill's played well this year. They've lost a handful of close games. I mean, if you look at their schedule and the results, they've lost a couple of one-point games, lost 24-20 to Effingham. So we were just glad to get out of there with a win.
Coach, Richmond Hill had over 300 yards rushing. Based on film that you had watched of them, was that pretty much their game plan to try and control the clock with the running game?
Well, that's basically what they do in a triple option. They ran a little more option than we expected, but other than that, that's what they do offensively. And
Richmond Hill's senior running back, Ronnie Harris, unofficially had 157 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. I was very impressed with that young man. He's got to be one of the top running backs in the region.
He's a good player. He's been leading the region in rushing all year, and he had a good game against us Friday night.
And another running back for Richmond Hill's Arius Walker had 93 yards. It seemed when our defense would key on Harris, Walker would pick up key yardage. How do you prepare your team for 2 very good running backs?
Well, I mean, we just need to prepare for option. That's pretty much it. He was the guy that they were pitching it to after they were faking the number 5, and he took advantage of it. And I mean, most of his runs came on probably 2 long runs. Most of his yards probably came on 2 long runs.
I thought that maybe we came out a little flat to start the game, fell behind 22-6, and quite honestly, I was beginning to get a little concerned up there in the press box. What were you telling your players on the sideline when we were down by 2 scores?
Well, we just had to stay composed. I mean, you know, good teams have to put themselves in a position to battle back, and we got down 22-6 simply because we turned the ball over.
Right.
And we can't turn the ball over and expect to win, you know, close games. So, you know, just stay composed and be ready to fight the entire 48 minutes.
Coach, after the Pirates cut the lead to 2 points and seemed to have the momentum, Richmond Hill came right back. Harris scored on that 51-yard run to put them up 28-20. What was the mood on the sideline after the touchdown by Richmond Hill to go back up by?
I mean, just to keep playing. We never got down. I mean, that was not even an option. The game was too important. You know, our guys knew we had to play 48 minutes, so that wasn't even an option of being down about it. It's just one play. We had to bounce back and get another. We're still within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion of tying the game up.
This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, right before the half, Tyler Mitchum kicked a field goal that cut the lead to 28-23. How big was that field goal as far as regaining momentum?
I think it was big just to get a score before we went in at the half. And that cut it 28-23 at halftime, and just to get a score right before the half, usually that's a huge momentum swing, whether it happens for your team or against your team. That's usually a big momentum swing going into the half. And we knew we got the ball first coming out. So that was big.
That was a big plus too, having the ball to start the second half. And Coach, the defense I thought played overall played pretty well, played extremely well in the second half. Only gave up 6 points in the second half. What adjustments did you make at halftime?
Well, the biggest thing was, if you watch tape on them going into the game, they probably pitched the ball 5 times all year. And they were pitching the ball on the option. So we just needed to tweak what we were doing defensively and be ready to play the option.
Richmond Hill, in my opinion, really had nothing to lose Friday night, and I thought they did some unconventional things. Were you surprised by their 3 onside kick attempts?
Not really. You said the key phrase, they had nothing to lose, and when that's the case, you have to expect about anything. And thought our guys up front did a good job recovering. I think we had a freshman that caught all 3 of the onside kicks, so I thought that was big.
That's a good sign. How about the 2-point attempts that they attempted instead of trying to kick the PAT? Was that something you expected or didn't expect?
No, we didn't expect it, but again, when you have nothing to lose, you go all out.
Right.
So that kind of comes with the territory.
Coach, another big night for your freshman quarterback, Randon Jernigan. The Florida Times-Union had him with 139 yards rushing for the night, giving him exactly 1,000 yards rushing for the season. How does Randon rank in the region as far as rushing totals?
He's probably second right now. He's second in the region rushing.
And Randon also has over 900 yards passing for the year. Is he still the region leader in total yardage?
He is in total yards. He's leading the region.
Let's talk a little bit more about Randon Jernigan, of course, a freshman. I know when Corey Dixon was a sophomore, he started for you at quarterback, and then this year you've got, of course, the young freshman with Randon. Has Randon lived up to your expectations? Has he been a little better than you anticipated, or pretty much what you thought?
Doing about what I thought. We just got to do a better job taking care of the ball, because if you add up the last 2 games now, we've had quite a few turnovers compared to the middle of the season. So we got to continue to improve in that area. That's a huge area for him that we need to improve on.
And Coach, Randon has over 150 carries on the season, far and away the most on the team, and he's taken some big hits, including some Friday night. But he really has missed very few offensive snaps. How tough is this kid?
Well, I mean, he's pretty tough. He's only about 155 pounds, and he's carried the ball that many times this season. So he's obviously really a tough kid.
What was the extent of his injury Friday night?
He just had a cramp.
Well, that's good.
That's
good. More to come on the Victor Floyd Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsors.
Coastal Appliances is your one-stop shop for Whirlpool washers and dryers, Whirlpool refrigerators, and so much more. Coastal Appliances offers free delivery and service after installation and have also been in business for over 30 years. 4727 Altama, next to Sonic, and on the web at appliancesbrunswickga.com, or give them a call at 912-267-0132. Coastal Appliances, Glenn County's only specialty appliance store. When you are in need of a reputable body shop, Port City Paint and Body in Brunswick is your answer. Located at 2509 Norwood Street, just down from Twin Oaks, Port City Paint and Body understands your needs and cares about your car and you. Port City Paint and Body works with any insurance company. Give them a call for a free estimate at 912-265-9524 or on the web at portcitybodyshop.com. Port City Paint and Body, home of the lifetime guarantee, and go Pirates!
Hop aboard for Texas Hold'em tournaments, roulette, poker, lots of slot action, food, music, and more. Labor Day weekend, Sunday, August 31st, 7 p.m. Cruises depart from Brunswick, Georgia. Call 800-842-0115 or visit EmeraldPrincessCasino.com. Must be 18 years of age and present a government-issued photo ID to board.
I'm Jenkins Nissan.
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 I am Jenkins Nissan.
I'm Donnie Jenkins. We're all Jenkins Nissan, and together we want to show you just how easy buying and servicing your car should be. So please stop by and experience the Jenkins Nissan difference. Look for the red and white Nissan tent at the corner of Chapel Crossing Road and the Spur, or visit us online at jenkinsnissanofbrunswick.com.
Get affordable health care when you need it. At AppleCare Immediate Care, our team of compassionate healthcare providers is dedicated to treating each patient with the highest standard in healthcare. Located at 1111 Glencoe Parkway, AppleCare is open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. AppleCare welcomes all walk-ins from pediatric to adult ages and accepts most insurance plans. Visit us at applecaredoctors.com and like us on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Teddy Bishop on location from Marside Grill with head coach Victor Floyd. This segment is brought to you by Coastal Appliances, Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Jenkins Nissan, and by AppleCare Immediate Care. Coach, talking a little bit off the air about Sean Smith. When Randon went out for a couple of series Friday night, Sean stepped in as quarterback and did a pretty good job, engineered a touchdown drive of his own. Did you change the play calling when Sean was at quarterback?
Not really. All our run stuff stays the same. He has less passes in his package than Randon, but he still has some. Because Sean probably actually has a stronger arm than Randon, but not quite as accurate. So we just vary on how many passes we actually call, but everything else stays the same. And
looking at yards rushing, again, I was looking at the Florida Times-Union, and they had Sean, I think it might have been the Brunswick News, but they had Sean with 85 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns rushing, and then he caught another touchdown pass from Randon. Are those figures pretty accurate from?
Pretty accurate. He had 85 rushing and 81 receiving.
Okay. Kip Branch and I had Sean as co-player of the game with Tyler Mitchum. Is that a fair assessment?
It is. It is. Very fair. Sean had a 23-yard pass completion in there also.
Right. Yes, sir. When Tyler went in to attempt that first field goal, again, Kip and I were on the air, and Kip said that it was our first field goal attempt since 2007. Obviously, you made the right decision to kick the field goals, but I got to ask you, did you think about going for a first down on fourth down before you sent Tyler in?
No, because if we just got points going into the half, we got the ball first. So I just wanted to try to get some points there. It was on the right. It was on the correct hash for him where he usually hits, and timing was pretty perfect. And I told him whenever we tried the first one, I'd put him in a situation where it would be win-win for him. I wouldn't put him in a bad situation, and I thought that might have been the right time.
Yes, sir. He certainly came through, too. Coach, let's talk about turnovers a little bit. We talked about that off the air some, too. Turnovers have been a problem at times for the Pirates this season. We had 4 more Friday night, including that scoop and score for Richmond Hill. Is this a result of maybe trying to do too much on specific plays or being too aggressive or just good defense on the opposing teams?
No, defense didn't have anything to do with the turnovers. I think it was more us rushing things and being in a rush on some of our reads and not making the correct read. Like I said, we had 4 turnovers and they scored on 3 of them, and one was a scoop and score. So, it's an area that we have to continue to work on, and we have to be a little more patient in decision making.
Any other players on offense or defense that you want to mention from Friday night's game?
Well, I thought Amarius Wilson did some good things. He had about 100 yards offense. He had, I want to say, 40-some-odd yards rushing and 40-some-odd yards receiving. So I thought that was a plus to get him back in the fold, receiving and running. And I thought John ran hard. John Grant gives us what he gives us inside, and he gave us some hard running. And I thought the offensive line played really well at times. Deontay Demery had his best game of the year, and I think that group is starting to come together a little bit.
You're listening to the Victor Floyd Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, what's the status of A.J. Jackson?
Well, A.J.'s probably about a week away from returning. We're definitely looking forward to that, but he's probably a week away from returning.
And how about other injuries, Coach?
Well, unfortunately, we've lost William Brinkley for the year. He's done. He tore his MCL, and we've chosen to let it heal naturally instead of having surgery. So that's about a 3-month process, and I hate it for him because he's a senior, and this was his last go-round. He was having a good season, but he is lost for the year. But we should get Kenneth Dallas and A.J. Jackson back at the same time about a week from now.
And maybe in time for the Ware game, so that would be a big plus.
Yes.
Coach, this week your Pirates travel up to Hinesville and take on Bradwell Institute. Ovie Field can be a tough place to play, and I think you told me last week that this will be your first trip there.
It will be. It'll be my first trip to Bradwell, and that team's yearning for a victory, and Coach Hill has those guys playing really, really hard. So I hope that we can go over and handle business.
Bradwell's had some good teams in the past, but they're having a tough season this year. They're 0-8 now, and I think they've scored the fewest points in the region and maybe given up the most points in the region. On paper, it should be an easy win, but you don't play the games on paper, of course. You play them on the gridiron. What do you expect from Bradwell?
Well, with it being senior night, I expect them to come out and play as hard as they've played all year. That senior group, I'm sure, wants to get a win their senior year, and they don't want to go out not having won a game. So we'll get their best effort of the year. And Coach Hill and staff's doing a good job, and I know it's been a rebuilding process for them with the new staff and new systems and everything. But I'm sure that we'll get their best game of the year with it being senior night.
Coach, what are the offensive and defensive schemes that your team will face against Bradwell?
Well, Bradwell will be very similar to Richmond Hill. They're going to be triple option. Defensively, they base out of a 4-man front, an even front, but they're going to give us a lot of 4- and 3-man fronts. They're going to be multiple on defense.
Coach, as we talked about last week, the Pirates control their own destiny as far as the playoff spot is concerned. Talking to Kip Branch before we went on the air and trying to determine the playoff picture. Obviously, a win Friday night clinches Brunswick High at least a 4 seed and may already be in at least the 4 seed. I'm not sure all of the tiebreaker scenarios and everything, but Brunswick High is certainly in a position to get back into the playoffs this season.
Yes, we think we are. But the way we're looking at it, we need these last 2 to get in. That's going to be our approach about it. I don't want to do any math. I don't want to figure anything out. We're just going to try to win these last 2 games.
Coach, as you said, you're just going to play the last 2 games, take them one at a time. But the playoff picture has got to be in the back of the minds of the players. Is that something you can use to motivate them with the playoff possibility looming for them?
Well, I mean, I think so, but again, the way we're approaching it is we have to win these 2 to get in. So if they want to get in the playoffs, we need to win these 2 games. That's what we're telling them, and that's going to be our approach to it. So I think they really want to get in the playoffs. They've been talking about it a lot, and I think it's heavy on their mind, especially the senior group. So
right.
It's definitely a motivational factor.
We will be right back to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
Bruce Kennedy Tire is your hometown destination for tires. Michelin, Goodyear, and all the brands you trust. But don't let the name fool you. Bruce Kennedy Tire, located at 2928 Norwich Street, does more than just tires. Brakes, alignments, repair work, and more than I can mention. Bruce Kennedy is locally owned and operated, so you get the best service in Glenn County. So give Bruce a call at 912-264-6578. Bruce Kennedy Tire, a name you can trust. Files Insurance Agency, located at 5623 Altama Avenue, a quarter-mile north of the Target Shopping Center, offers a wide range of products to protect you and your family from the unknown. Auto insurance, life, health, flood, commercial, bonds, including shrimp bonds, and so much more. Give Files Insurance Agency a call at 912-264-0100 or visit them online at filesinsurance.com. Pristine Water is your destination for pools, spas, and pool supplies. From installation to maintenance, Pristine Water is your best choice in all of Southeast Georgia for your next pool or spa. Give Pristine Water a call at 912-264-9233 for a free estimate, or stop on in at 166 Key Circle Drive, or check Pristine Water out online at pristinewaterandpools.com. And go Pirates!
Relax. Misty's Element Massage specializes in helping you do just that. Located at 138 Village Market on St. Simon's Island, Misty's Element Massage offers deep tissue massages, therapeutic massages, scrubs, creams, body wraps, and much more. The perfect gift for that special someone, not to mention sports massages for that aching muscle. Schedule your appointment today at 912-224-0198 or on the web at mistyselement.com.
Marshside Grill is your home for the best burgers, spuds, and seafood around. Come enjoy the view out by the water while taking in an ice-cold beverage. Marshside Grill is also your home for the Brunswick High Pirates Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd, and a proud sponsor of Brunswick High and local high school athletics. So stop in any day or night of the week for the best view and atmosphere in the Golden Isles. And also, check us out on Facebook. Go Pirates!
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Pirates Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Teddy Bishop on location at Marshside Grill with Coach Victor Floyd. This segment is brought to you by Bruce Kennedy Tires, Files Insurance Agency, Pristine Water and Pools, and by Misty's Element Massage. Coach, let's talk a little bit about former Pirates now playing at collegiate upper levels, and you've got some updates on some stats for us.
Yes. Actually, I'll start with Darius Slade taking a trip to London.
Right.
He played in London this morning against the Falcons.
Early this morning.
They were able to squeeze out a win. I think it was a 1-point win.
Kip's over there giving the victory fist.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely excited. But sounds like Darius had a very interesting trip to London, and it was a great experience for him. It's amazing where the game of football takes some of these young men, type of impact it has on their lives, because I don't know if he would have went to London if he hadn't been playing football.
Right.
So, that's good. There's quite a few of our guys yesterday did pretty well. Jarvis Small had his 6th straight 100-yard game. He had 123 yards and 3 touchdowns against Clark Atlanta yesterday, where they were victorious, and they're number 1 in the SIAC right now at 5-2 and 5-0 in the conference. Justin, even though they lost to Alabama, he had a pretty good game. He had 7 tackles, 1 pass breakup, and 1 TFL, and that was against Alabama yesterday. Tracy played pretty well last Tuesday night on television against Arkansas State. They were on ESPN earlier this week, and he had 5 tackles and played real solid as they defeated Arkansas State. Avery Sweeting, they lost to Georgia Southern yesterday, but he had a pretty solid day, having 147 yards of total offense. Demetrius Newberry had 9 tackles yesterday against Elizabeth City. That was his best game of the year, so he's playing pretty solid for them. Trey Johnson had 3 catches for 42 yards against Evan Waters yesterday in Jacksonville. I was planning to go to that, but I actually got tied up and didn't make it, but I'm sure his family went. Him and Tyree Hippert. Tyree had 4 tackles in that same game where they played an hour away. Willie Bolden sat out yesterday with a concussion. He didn't play against Hampton University up at Delaware State. Did not get any information on Shaq. I know he played on special teams, but he didn't post any stats. Trying to think. That may be it for statistically that I actually remember from yesterday.
So a lot of former Pirates doing well at the collegiate level, and of course Darius doing well at the NFL level, and just going back to Darius, all of the former Pirates, particularly Darius, since he's made it ultimately to the NFL. But we talk about their high school careers and their collegiate careers and everything, but every one of those guys have something in common. They worked hard. They worked hard to get where they are.
Right, and they took advantage of the situation when it was presented. Chris Anderson's another one I left off yesterday. Valdosta State beat Shorter. He had 4 catches for about 30 yards. He's actually leading them in receptions this year right now. He's leading them in receptions and yards, as well as Trey Johnson's leading his team in Newport News also.
This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And, Coach, going back to Jarvis Small, Kip made a comment while we were off the air talking about Jarvis. May or has some consideration as perhaps the Offensive Player of the Year.
I think so. He's on right now the #1 team in the conference, and I think he's 2nd or 3rd in the conference in rushing. So I'm sure he'll be under consideration just because they're the top team. He's the leading rusher.
And Coach, got to ask you about Troopers football team, how they're doing.
They're doing okay. He's enjoying it. They're
well,
doing
that's good.
fine.
He is a fine young man. I'm sure he's he really enjoys playing football, and I think he has a big time when he helps you coach down on the sideline at the Brunswick High games.
Oh yeah, he loves it.
Coach, let's talk. We got about 2 minutes or so left. Let's talk a little bit about your coaching staff. A couple of times this year we were going to get to maybe some specific coaches, but really just haven't had time. Tell us a little bit about maybe tonight. Let's talk maybe about offensive and defensive coordinators, and maybe next week we can get in some of the other coaches.
Okay. Well, defensive coordinator is first year with us, Coach Linwood Ferguson. Coach Ferguson's had a major impact in my life. He was my defense coordinator in college, actually recruited me. So I've known him and his wife all my adult life for sure. And just excited that he thought enough of me to come down and actually be the coordinator here. But he's enjoying his time so far. This is his first year, and he's definitely made an impact with the young men. They gravitate to him, and he's doing a fine job for us. Coach has a wealth of experience. He's been in it almost 40 years, from high school, every level of college, been a head coach at high school and college. So he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to football, and just a great man, and has had an impact on a lot of young people. But we're just glad to have him here in South Georgia. And our offensive coordinator, Kyle Wilson's coming to us from Appling, where he was the offensive coordinator there, and prior to that he was the head coach at Long County. He was the head coach at Long County when I first arrived here in South Georgia, and did a good job there, and made a major impact at Appling. They converted from wing T to spread during his tenure there, and we're glad to have him here with us this year also.
Okay. Kip Branch stopped by tonight for the Victor Floyd Coaches Show. Kip, any thoughts or comments you want to throw in here? We got about 30 seconds before it's time to go.
Going to the Sizzler in Hinesville.
Kip says we're going to Weston Sizzler in Hinesville on Friday. Coach, any final comments before we sign off?
No, just encourage all the Pirates to come out and support us Friday night and the following Friday night for the last 2 games. We appreciate the support, and if you come out and see us, we won't disappoint.
We thank you for joining us for the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. We invite you to join us every week for the Victor Floyd Coaches Show, and this will air on 104.1 The Wave on Friday night at 6:45, and then Kip and I will be on the air about 7:15 with a 7:30 kickoff for the Brunswick High Bradwell Institute game in Hinesville. And we're going to say good night. Coach Floyd, we thank you. This is Teddy Bishop signing off.